Hey guys, it's Abby and I make videos sharing my Spanish language learning journey. Now, if you speak to anyone who knows how to speak a second language, one thing they say is that you have to practice using the language. iTalki is an app/website where you can meet people who speak the language that you want to learn and you can pay them to teach you. Now, iTalki is a service I'd heard of years ago, but it's one that I didn't explore until recently when a polyglot mentor of mine actually suggested that I try using it to help improve my Spanish. So here was my experience. I think when you first open the app, it's exactly what you'd expect. You get asked a bunch of questions about your language level, what your target language to learn is, and then you're taken through to this kind of ecosystem where you can view who the teachers are. There are two types of teacher on iTalki. There are professional teachers, i.e. people who probably teach the language for a living or have extensive teaching experience. And there's also community teachers. And community teachers are the type of people that you just pay to have a conversation with. You know, they speak the language natively and they can correct you on your pronunciation, on your phrasing, on your delivery, but they might not have the formal structure that the professional teachers do. Some of the teachers are auto-recommended, I think based off of their availability and how much they match the criteria that you're searching for, but you can also just do a deep dive and filter through a bunch of the teachers that are there. One thing I quite liked was the fact that you do get a little bit of a sense of their person. They have written a description about themselves. Most people, I think everyone has a video talking a bit about who they are. And so you can get a sense, before you've put any money down, about what their style might be like. You can also see what kind of packages that they teach and sell. Some teachers exclusively do conversational stuff. Others are more experienced in coaching towards things like the B1, B2 and DELE language exams, or whatever other language exam you're using if you're not learning Spanish. Another thing I really liked about the app was that you get quite a clear indication of prices before you even book them. One thing I will note is that there's actually a transaction fee associated with buying each of the lessons. So if you see the price is, say, £8 an hour, it's probably something closer to £8.20 because there's this transaction fee on top. In some ways, there's an incentive, therefore, to purchase multiple lessons because then you only have the transaction fee once. Although it's important to note the transaction fee does scale with how much money you spend. iTalki also allows you to do trial lessons, and trial lessons are still ones you have to pay for, but teachers offer them at subsidised rates. This means that you get to test out the teacher, you get to see if you're a fit. So I went ahead with doing this option before choosing to purchase more lessons with my teacher. In my trial lesson, my teacher asked me about what my goals were and then also asked me about my general interests so that they could start to gauge what kind of material to give me in terms of homework and things. They also introduced me into the way that they run their lessons, and overall I was pretty satisfied. I didn't see anything that made me think we're not going to click, and I booked a 45-minute session about 2 days later, and overall I think structurally it worked out quite well. I had some pre-tasks to do before the lesson. In that session, it was really great just to be able to have rapid-fire, real-time correction of my Spanish. We were going through things like numbers and also parts of the body and members of the family, and really filling in the gaps that I'd probably not really looked at in my prior studies. As someone who's been a teacher for other subjects, I think you always have to be mindful about why you're hiring a tutor. In most cases, I found that my students underutilised me as a resource because they didn't come prepared. For me, when I use iTalki, I'm keen to be very intentional about how I use the time, and over the coming weeks and months, I'm going to be probably setting my own study plan and then getting my teacher to align with that so that I can make sure that I'm making steps and progress in the direction that I want to, rather than just paying for language lessons. If my experience is anything to go by, I would say give the service a try. I initially was going in thinking I'm going to do 1 hour or maybe 2 hours maximum of Spanish language lessons per week. And now I think I'm going to try and get possibly 3 to 4 hours, simply because lessons are more affordable than I thought. And also because I realised and acknowledged that actually having lots of conversational practice in a space where I can make mistakes and where I feel kind of open to exploring the language is only going to accelerate my language learning journey. So if this is something that appeals to you, why not check out iTalki using the link below. Use the link in the description to get $10 of free iTalki credit. Hasta luego!